Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump not knowing the Constitution. In an interview, Trump was asked a couple of questions that are worth going over. They deal with his apparent inability to understand the U.S. Constitution, which is a document he swore an oath to preserve, protect, and defend. Twice. Recently, Secretary of State Marco Rubio was asked if everybody, citizens and non-citizens, were entitled to due process. He didn't hedge. He simply said, quote, "Yes, of course." Trump was asked if he agreed with Rubio in an interview. Quote, "Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree?" Trump said, quote, "I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know." This is not a lawyer question. This is a grade school civics question. This question is answered in the Constitution directly, twice, in two separate parts of the Constitution. In the Fifth Amendment, it says clearly, "No person shall be held." Then it has a giant list of situations in which no person can be held. Then it says, quote, "Nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." Person is important because in parts of the Constitution, it differentiates between person and citizen. But just in case that isn't clear, the 14th Amendment in Section 1 spells it out that it applies to citizens and every other person. Quote, "All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." See, it lists out all of these privileges and immunities of citizens, then says, "Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." Back to the term person. But if that isn't enough, the next line is, quote, "Nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws." Just by being within its jurisdiction, any person is entitled to equal protection, which means they get due process. This is elementary school stuff. Trump was pressed, and he once again deferred to lawyers on a basic constitutional question. Quote, "I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said." Down below will be a video from Impartial Points that goes over the entire Constitution. Incidentally, they have one coming out soon on the Declaration of Independence, which also includes complaints about the king not providing real due process. Those people who are supposed to protect your rights and freedoms apparently don't know what they are. You have to. In a recent video, I said something along the lines of, if one group of people doesn't have due process, nobody does. That prompted a lot of questions. No, it isn't some silly turn of rhetoric. It's literal. Let's say the U.S. decides that people with brown eyes don't get due process. I don't have brown eyes, but that doesn't matter. Because if the cops say I do, I never get to walk into a room and show my eye color to a judge. Apply that to any class of people they want to deny due process to. You don't get the opportunity to say you're a citizen, because if they say you're not, you don't get due process. That's not a slogan. It's a statement of fact. That's why the Constitution was written the way it is and is so clear about this. multiple times in multiple ways. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.